Hello, Umunemundi Igbo, Umunemundi Enuani. How are you all doing? Welcome to Enuani Cultural Forum, where we promote rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Enuani Cultural Forum. Welcome, welcome. If you're just joining us, today we are looking at what we must do to promote the Igbo language. What we must do to promote the Igbo language and culture. What are the things we must do to promote the Igbo language? So, welcome to Enuani Cultural Forum, where we promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. Today, we are looking at things we must do to protect the Igbo language. You may think, why are we trying to protect the Igbo language? Is the Igbo language in danger? Why are we trying to protect the Igbo language, or why must we protect the Igbo language? Yes, the Igbo language is in danger, in a very big danger. How is the Igbo language in danger? Very recently, the federal government of Nigeria brought out a kind of law concerning education. I'm trying to type a question. So what can we do to promote the Igbo language and culture? Let us know what you think. You can provide answer. We'll see the answer there. We'll see your answer when it drops. We'll see your answer when it drops. What can we do to promote the Igbo language? What can we do to promote the Igbo language? Yes, thank you for joining us. We have 15 people actively online now. So, very recently, at the educational conference held in Abuja and the one held in Akure, the Federal Ministry of Education announced that from henceforth, only English language would be used in education of Nigerian pupils. English alone is allowed to be used in classrooms for the education of pupils across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. And as you all know, we have Igbo speaking communities in 13 states of Nigeria. So out of these 36 states, we have Igbo speaking communities in at least 13 of the states. What can we do in these 13 states to protect the Igbo language? The Igbo language is already in danger, you all know. How is the Igbo language in danger? Most of these communities that speak Igbo language do not agree. Some of them do not believe that they are Igbo, just because they are not located in the southeastern region. They think it in any way reduces their Igbo-ness, but they are Igbo. So now that Nigerian government is backing a decree or promulgating a decree through the Federal Ministry of Education, a decree that ensures that all subjects taught in schools must be taught with English. Every communication with a pupil must be done in English until university level, even up to the university. Before, it wasn't like this. Some people will say, no, it has been like this. No, it wasn't like this. The 2022 policy on education says you can educate the child in his or her indigenous language until after primary 6. But with this new policy of this present administration of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the instruction to schools is that you must speak English. So let's not forget that a few weeks ago, they brought out a law that the study of languages is limited to just 3 languages, which is English, Hausa, and Igbo, which is Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo. But the teaching of subjects is what they have restricted, that the instructional language must be English. So these children are forced to speak English as if they are being still taught by the colonial masters. It's an unfortunate situation. So we are asking, what can we do to promote or protect the Igbo language? Now that a child's most important and most influential learning center, which is the classroom, has stepped back, it is time for us as Ndi Igbo to step forward. I am very proud of most of our brothers and sisters who live abroad. Please don't mind when I switch to Asusu Igbo, because what we are trying to project is Asusu Igbo. Ụmụnna ndị bi na mba ofesi, obi jupụtara ma nwere ebe nọ kwesị akwado asụsụ Igbo, na-asụ asụsụ Igbo, ụmụnwe na-asụ asụsụ Igbo. When you see them on social media, you will think they are doing it for monetization. No, not just that. They could have done content in any other language. But to see people creating content na asụsụ Igbo to help ginger up parents who were not doing same, because why there was a lapse in the teaching of the language or in the speaking of the language is that some people at a point became afraid, became ashamed to identify as Igbo. But now that people who live abroad, you can see some of them are white. Some pages like Wanyocha, Ekwe and Son, some of them who speak Igbo, the Tocklins family, you will see these families protecting and projecting Asusu Igbo. I feel feel so happy seeing some of these children of mixed race who are Igbos speaking Igbo. It sets a good example. Why am I saying this? Because we have people in Ani Igbo, ndị nọ na Ani Igbo, na anaghị asụ asụsụ Igbo. That one is a shame. There are people who live in Igbo land who cannot speak Igbo language. There are people who live in Igbo land who pretend as if they are not Igbo. They make their children feel ashamed to speak Igbo. They make the ones that speak English to feel as if they are the intelligent ones. Please, if you are just joining us, kindly give us a thumbs up. We have a very long way to go. Mana ihe anyị na-ajụ bụ kedu ihe anyị ga-eme ka anyị wee na-akwado asụsụ Igbo? Ihe ndị anyị ga-eme ka anyị wee na-akwado asụsụ Igbo ka ọ rapụ ịla. Because Igbo language is going down every day. Please give us a thumbs up to help this video reach more people. And as well, if you are not a subscriber, kindly subscribe to our channel. This is Enuani Cultural Forum, where we promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. You will see the photo, the image that we used as a banner head for this live stream. It is the picture of our sister, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She is the person who recently came out to say that Igbo speaking people are in 13 states of the Federation, and she listed them out. Also saying that every of this community is her hometown. And she described the joy she feels anytime she lands in Asaba or in Enugu or in Anambra. Anywhere she lands in Igbo land, she feels at home. So these Igbo speaking communities, what can we do to assist them, to assist our children to project and protect the Igbo language? Because if we lose our language, we have lost our culture, we have lost ourselves. Maka na ọtụtụ omenani dị n'asụsụ Igbo are preserved in our language. It is the language of a culture that the culture is preserved in. If a culture can no longer understand its language, that culture will be lost. If our children can no longer speak our language, when you say Iwaji or Iriji, as some people call it, they will be lost because they don't understand what you're saying until you now say New Yam Festival, and they begin to treat it as an ordinary festival. And we all know that Iwaji is not an ordinary festival. It is a very important annual festival of Ndi Igbo that celebrates the new yam, because yam is the king of all agricultural products in Ani Igbo. In case you're just joining us, please give us a thumbs up and help us to share this video to your audience. If you are not yet a subscriber as well, that this is your first time of coming across our videos, please kindly subscribe to our channel. This is Enuani Cultural Forum, and my name is Onwode Ngozi Chukwuka Fortune. Today we are looking at what can we do to protect the Igbo language, since the federal government of Nigeria has instructed all schools that all their language that should be used for instruction of children should be English and English alone, from nursery school to university. This means that if we had hope that in classroom our children will learn our language, that hope is lost. For instance, the school where my children attend, I was pleased to see that some of the teachers are from my hometown, and my children, their first language was my indigenous language. Okay, we are glad to have 102 active people watching this video. Please give us a thumbs up. 102 active people watching this video, give us a thumbs up. So when I saw these two teachers who are from my hometown, I was very happy that at least my children will not be lost, because if you speak English for them and they don't understand, you can easily switch to our language, our dialect of Igbo, and talk to them and they will understand. But now that federal government has come up with a policy that says in classrooms from nursery school to university only use English, it makes it difficult for such a teacher. Because even if they have the intention to speak that local language, that indigenous language, the law makes it difficult now because the school may frown against it. The pupils who are not from that community may frown against it. So, gịnị ka anyị ga-eme ka anyị wee na-akwado asụsụ Igbo ka ọ rapụ ịla? If you are just joining us, please give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. Give us super thanks too. I was trying to post my account details here, but it was difficult for me to do so. I'm thinking that I can't even see my comments. Okay, so if you have comments, you can put them. It said if you change filters, 100 fans. Okay. It's like I put a filter on my no. Let me put no filter so all my messages can show. Okay, so all the comments are showing. I'm so sorry that I didn't see this early. I didn't see this. I put a filter earlier on, so your comments were not showing. So I want to pin a message now. Okay, so we are looking at oleekwana ihe ndị anyị ga-eme ka anyị wee na-akwado asụsụ Igbo. Oleekwana ihe ndị anyị ga-eme ka anyị wee na-akwado asụsụ Igbo. Drop your comments, please. Those things you feel we can do to protect the Igbo language. Those things we can do to protect the Igbo language. My suggestions are as follows. 1, let us start from the basics. A child has the ability to learn as many as 10 to 15 languages, but at least 5. Sụọrọ ụmụ gị asụsụ Igbo. Na-asụ na ụmụ asụsụ Igbo. Sụọ asụsụ Igbo. If your child's first language becomes Igbo, they can learn English in the classroom. Just like now that the government has made it easy for them. They can now learn their English in the classroom. When they come back home, continue your Igbo. Don't feel ashamed about it. Later, you will thank me for it. I am an Enuani language teacher. Enuani is a version of Igbo. It's just a dialect of Igbo language. But I know how parents regret not teaching their children this Enuani version of Igbo language when they were children. When you are speaking this English for them, you will think you are doing them a great favor. But why are you sending them to school if they come back home and you still continue teaching them English? Teach them that your Igbo language and all the local. Because Igbo by the time they grow up. By the time they are all grown up, primary school, secondary school, university, unless you are going to pay for Igbo language classes. And what they are going to learn there is limited compared to what they would have learned freely from you as a parent. I know it is not easy, okay? I'm not saying it's simple. It's not easy at all. As a father of 2 children who are less than 5 years old, I understand what I'm telling you, but you will later enjoy it. Speak Igbo for your children at home. Compose really. When they respond in English, tell them the Igbo way to say it. When you speak Igbo to them, they will be tempted to reply you in English, No, insist that they reply you in Igbo. Kana asụsụ Igbo n'ụlọ be gị. The more they speak that Igbo language, the more they get confident in it, the more they learn it. Mind you, no one can teach them this Igbo once they have grown up. Once they have learned English as their first language, either is Ogu, Onanashigewe, Yamawikewe, she's there, you cannot reverse it anymore. Please, if you're just joining us, kindly give us a thumbs up. We are discussing the topic, what can we do to protect the Igbo language across the 13 Igbo speaking states? We have to fall back to the basics. Since the Federal Ministry of Education has issued a policy instructing all schools from nursery school to university to ensure that the only language of learning and instruction is English, the ball is now back to our court as Igbo parents. Swallow moge asusu Igbo. Na soro ha asusu Igbo. Azagi na bekee isimba. Zam Igbo. Communication is a two-way thing. Abegwale eba na agwam na my children, you know, some of them, they can understand everything you're saying, no, only that they don't speak it. Your children are meant to speak it, write it, understand it, and all what have you, and interpret it as well, because they are Igbos. Most of you don't understand the mistakes you're making and how fatal they can be. Very soon, you will grow old and die. Is it these children that cannot understand Asusu Igbo that will carry you to your Umunna and go and do burial? Umunna will be blowing grammar for them. Or what? I don't understand. Or when they get there, they will assume their Umunna are wicked uncles. Take the pains now. It doesn't take much. Let me even give you an instance. If you have excuses, because many of us usually have excuses. Some will say their wife is not an Igbo woman. So, are your children now speaking the language of your wife's people now? Because as I am here now, I can speak my mother's Igbo language, version of Igbo language. I can speak my father's version of Igbo language. I can speak my stepmother's version of Igbo language as well. How many are you teaching your children? Can you confidently say that your children can speak Igbo because you, as the father, are Igbo? Can you confidently say, as one Igbo, that your children can speak Igbo because you are the mother and your children are speaking your mother tongue? Or you are the father and you have transferred Igbo to your children? I'm using Igbo language as a basic, so we have not even started talking about the culture, because it is in the language that you transfer the culture to them. I don't know if you understand this. So that you tell your children that not bitter leaf soup, not banga soup. If we can learn to pronounce pizza, shawarma, all the names are icon, because we couldn't translate it to English. If you say vegetable soup, there are different kinds of vegetables. So when you say icon, they know the particular vegetable. When you say atama, they know the particular vegetable. When they say afang, you know the particular vegetable that are missed to get it. That is why if we protect our Asusu Igbo, when you say Ofo or Achi, the person will know. When you say Ofo Onubu, the person will know. Ofede, the person will know. We need to protect our language, and it has to begin from home without any excuses. My fellow parents, we have no excuses as Ndi Igbo. Ikuzilo mwanya Asusu Igbo. You don't any excuse at all. One single excuse you don't have. My father does not just speak Igbo to us. He speaks it with proverb. So he makes it even more tasking for you. Ijoya, Papa, nani ka ino. That is olo twide. Ya zagi na ewu na atụ ụzịza dị ndụ. So you have to go and think the proverb, know the meaning, and then know what he answered you. We have to learn to teach our children the Igbo language. Because if you fail to do so as a parent, especially when they are young and they're still in your house, you have failed woefully. If you don't know how monumentally you have failed, wait until your children come in the midst of their umunna, especially the umunna who were born and brought up in Australia, United States of America, Canada, United Kingdom, and every part of the world where Igbo people are. And their parents were diligent enough to teach them Igbo. And you are in Aba, you are in Umuahia, you are in Anambra, you are in Imo, you are in Enugu, you are in Delta, the Igbo speaking parts of Delta. You are in Edo State, the Igbo speaking parts of Edo. You are in River State. You are in Benue, the Igbo speaking peoples of Benue. You are in Kogi, you are in Bayelsa, Cross Rivers. All these places that have Igbo speaking people. You are in these places and your children cannot speak Igbo. Sorry. Because by the time these people come from abroad, now Susu Igbo, with pride and dignity, you will feel ashamed. You will feel so much ashamed. You will feel so much ashamed. So, please, this person is saying use Igbo to write chemistry. My brother, go to Tanzania, in Africa here. It is their indigenous language that is used in teaching in classrooms. Go to South Africa, the same thing. Zulu is protected. Is it Tanzania that they teach Swahili compulsorily? Go to Ethiopia, the same thing. Their indigenous languages are first, English second. Go to North Korea. North Korea's educational system is rated very highly all over the world. Korean is their language. Go to China. Go to Russia. These people use their indigenous language. In fact, to make this thing very good for you, one of our brothers, I can't remember his name now, Obonna, who recently traveled to the United States of America, just wrote a physics textbook in Igbo language, so that you know that it is not something that is out of the world. PNOKK, Professor PNOKK Onyibo, is the author of the physics textbooks that are used in most secondary schools across Nigeria. I know you have heard the name PNOKK. PNOKK could have as well decided to write his physics textbooks in Igbo, just like our brother recently did. Please, if you're just joining us, I have over 150 active viewers. Please like this video. We have just 7 likes. It's not reflecting the number of people watching. So we can translate our textbooks now to Igbo. Call the sodium, sodium. Call the lithium, lithium. Call the chlorine, chlorine. Call the magnesium, magnesium. Call manganese, manganese. Call them by their names. When you want to write manganese reacting or interacting with another chemical, write it in Igbo so that these children will understand it. Where there are no Igbo words, because the Igbo language is very deep. If you think the Igbo language is not sufficient enough, try using it against English. There are words I will give you in Igbo, you can't give me in English. Give me the English word, I will give you the Igbo translation. But if I give you the Igbo word, you can never find a direct English translation for it. You will lose its meaning. So Igbo language is very strong. We can use Igbo to teach and write chemistry. Yes, we can do so. Now, on a national scale, it may be difficult because this is why we have continued to say, not out of hatred, that Nigeria is not a nation. a nation has a unified language. Nigeria has its Yoruba, they have the Hausa, they have Igbo, they have those small languages like the Nupe language, the Tiv, and the rest. But the Igbo language has up to 13 states speaking it, and we can decide to protect this Asusu Igbo, not just the English language. A na-eji Igbo na-akụzi physics, a na-eji Igbo na-akụzi chemistry, ji Igbo kụzie philosophy, wele Igbo na-akụzi some of these courses so that you will see how the students will fare. In fact, the laughable excuse that the Minister of Education gave was that those who were using local language to learn did not do well in the WAEC and NECO. And that's not true. Language doesn't fail. There's no way you can tell me that the child learns all the English I'm blowing here. If I switch to my local language, you will not believe that I know one single English word. So the first language my parents taught me was Obolo dialect of the Igbo language. Why it was difficult for me was this. While my mother is speaking the Ogwashuku version of the Igbo language, my father is speaking the Obolo deep one of the Igbo language. My stepmother is speaking the Umuezechima aspect of it. So I learned 3 versions of the Igbo language. When I now went to classroom, they taught me Igbo Izugbe in secondary school. When I got to the university as well, I chose Igbo Izugbe again. And I made A. When I made A in Igbo language, some people will be saying, onye data, onye data. Onye data, my Igbo is very, very well closer to Igbo Izugbe than some Igbo dialects of the eastern states. Very much closer. Everything in Igbo Izugbe, none is alien to me. But I have to understand that this is an exam situation. Instead of saying fa or where, I will say ha, ha na agụ akwụkwọ. But if I speak to my language, I will say wa agụ akwụkwọ, ha na agụ akwụkwọ, wa agụ akwụkwọ. Ị ga-eri nri, ị ga-eri nri. You see how dialect has changed this, but it is still Igbo. So it was easy for me to switch from my dialect to the mainstream Igbo Izugbe. But I still know how to speak my own version of the Igbo language. And I'm telling you this today. Please, my fellow parents, let us fall back to the basis. Fall back to the basis, which is home. Home. Uno kwesi eji ilo. Uno kwesi amari mapu ilo. Egwu si uno efulu madesi ilo. Ana esi uno amalu mana apu na ama. Si uno malu mapu na ama. Who is this person? Shallow, or what's her name? Well, I don't have any word for you. And I know you are pained. Very much pain. This is what I like. I like when I do such live streams and it's causing some people pain. You can see the comments of this shallow, and I know you are very shallow. We are projecting the Igbo language. Go and project the language of your own people if you have one. This is how it is when we protect and project Asusu Igbo. Ndị na-abụrụ ndị Igbo. Ị ga-afụchasị ndị Hausa, ndị Yoruba. Ha na-ebe, ọ na-ewufa na ha na-protect Asusu Igbo. What I'm speaking here is Igbo language. What we are doing here is to promote Igbo. If you are not Igbo and you are watching the live stream, is your data. You're wasting your data. I am not asking for people to watch the live stream. It doesn't pay me 1 naira if you're watching live stream. This is not TikTok. This is YouTube. So you're watching a live stream doesn't add anything to me. If you are not an Igbo person and you are on this timeline, you are going to cause yourself high blood pressure because everything I say is about Igbo, 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 Igbo. It is a platform of Undi Igbo, unapologetically. If you're also a lover of Undi Igbo, you are welcome. But if you are an Igbo hater, hey, you have high blood pressure after watching videos from this channel. That is what I promise you. So if you come to this comment to drop your BS comments, you're going to have high blood pressure after watching our videos. It's as simple as that. Unapologetically, I'm not doing all those things that say it's a detribalized Nigerian. I am tribalized, and I am an Igbo person. That is my tribe and the tribe that I project. I'm not apologetic about it at all. I'm not even doing anything to massage your ego or make you feel happy. If you are Yoruba, you can go to hell. If you don't have any business with this platform, get away from it. If you are an Igbo person or an Igbo lover, stay. We have this song when I was little. There was a get away. Oh, Igbo, come. That is what I'm using on this platform. This platform projects Igbo without trying to undermine any other person. But if you come here to come and say we are talking trash, you receive fire. Sharp. So, what we are teaching, my brother, thank you so much, Chukwode. Don't mind me. I needed to give that person hot because if you bring fire, I give you fire, then you run away. So the Igbo language is already endangered even before this policy was released. That policy was brought out by an Hausa man, I think Tunji Alausa. Yes. So the policy is aimed at making indigenous languages to go down. A recent statistics that I posted on one of my social media handles projects Ndi Igbo, especially our women, as the most educated women in ethnic group in Nigeria. Of course, we know that Igbos are the fourth most educated, most traveled ethnic group in the world. We are also the most educated immigrants in the world. Not like the ones who will say we are using education as an excuse to travel. For real. In some communities, you will find 15, 20 professors. In my own community, for instance, we have no fewer than 12 professors. So some of the traditional rulers, you will hear their name from this western part of Igbo land, are professors. People who are accomplished in the academia, academic professors. If you are not an Igbo person and you are on this platform, I am repeating it, it's just an avenue to cause yourself headache for nothing. A high blood pressure. Because when I start reeling out the greatness of Ndi Igbo, pure ara, you may just stumble and fall and die because of hatred. The Igbo language, the Igbo culture, and the Igbo people are not just ancient people, but prosperous people, the most prosperous in every part of the world where they are found. They are not just good or better. Like my brother here said, Raymond, they are the best. In every field, you find them. Nandi Igbo name of man, na Nigeria name of many countries where you see them on Igbo. Yes, I said what I said. Nigerians are good, very hardworking, very industrious, Igbo. Remove Igbo from that pack and see what is remaining. And see how empty that Nigeria will be. So when we are projecting Asusu Igbo, what we can do to protect Igbo language, and you are not a person who loves Igbo. One Zelu, because of high BP, because if we start reading now the greatness of Ndi Igbo, Allah Gabage, pure Allah. Because the things that I say on this platform especially are things that are verifiable. What makes Egypt today is pyramids, all right? They will say the Egyptian pyramids, great and mighty pyramids. When I now say that there are pyramids in Nsude, in Enugu, and they are older, at least 500 years older than the Egyptian pyramids, by the time I say that there are pyramids in Nsude that are at least 500 years older than Egyptian pyramids, they will think it's a joke until they go online and type it in and see that it's true. If Igbos are not just here today. And when they insist that they are people of antiquity and that they have been here before Adam, they are not boasting. We say so with facts. When you travel to Okigwe, it was in the, thank you so much, my brother Chukwudi. It was in the former Imo state, but now in Abia state, Okigwe. The community I'm sending you to is Ugwele in Ngodo. Ngodo is the ancient kingdom it was, but now it's Ugwele. When you get to Ugwele, you go to the mountain called Isume and then ask, in this mountain called Isume, what was discovered here? The oldest Acheulean tools, that is stone tools, used in the Stone Age by mankind, was not just produced in Ugwele, in the caves of Ugwele. It was mass produced. It is believed by anthropologists that this area was a manufacturing site for Acheulean tools. And when the Acheulean tools, which is stone tools, discovered in Ugwele were compared with the ones discovered in other parts of the world, they looked the same. These things are verifiable. Type in your Google now, Ngodo Ancient Kingdom, Ngodo. Type Ugwele, stone tools. You will see what I said. These are not me making boasts. These are things that have been verified by renowned anthropologists all over the world and documented. Okay, let me drag you a bit again back to Enugu. Because I know some people, when they hear about Ndi Igbo, where do I start talking about Ndi Igbo from? I hope I don't forget, but we'll come back. I'm now taking you to Leja in Nsukka. Don't think University of Nigeria. There's only one University of Nigeria, and it's located in Igbo land for a reason. Some will say it's because of Nnamdi Azikiwe. Nnamdi Azikiwe is from Anambra State. He's not from Enugu State. Okay, let's get that clear. If Nnamdi Azikiwe wanted to do something parochial, he would take University of Nigeria to his hometown. And I know that if it were in this modern age, when they say University of Nigeria, nobody will accept to cite it in Igbo land, because you can only have one University of Nigeria, and it is in Igbo. Where is it in Igbo? It is in Nsukka. Then what is in Nsukka? They came before Adam. Yes, Catherine Acholono, our sister, late Professor Catherine Acholono, published a book, They Lived Before Adams, and she also carried out this research. I'm going to talk a little about the works of Catherine Acholono, because she didn't end in all these things I'm talking about. She discussed extensively her discoveries at Ikom, where you have the Ikom monolith. Thank you so much, my brother Raymond. So, Leja iron smelting site is the oldest iron smelting site in the world. Fact check what I just said. Not one of the oldest in the world. Leja iron smelting site. So it means that Ndi Igbo were the first set of people to produce Acheulean tools, which is the stone tools I talked about in Okigwe. Now we have come to the Iron Age, and Ndi Igbo were also the first to start producing iron at Leja in Nsukka. Come on now. Is it now a coincidence that Isaiah Anozie decided in one of these days to excavate a well at his backyard, and he started digging up artworks, artifacts? When Isaiah Anozie excavated the Ibuku bronze masks, I said, they were tested by anthropologists. Over 150 something different artworks were excavated, tested, and proven to be of 9th century, at least 400 years older than the Ife art, 500 years older than the Bini art. Yet, in 1976, when President Olusegun Obasanjo sent a message to the London Museum to release Queen Idia's mask of Benin. An ivory mask, oh, and they failed to release it. He didn't think, can we use Ibuku mask? Because the masks excavated at Ibuku are the oldest masks in sub-Saharan Africa, the most sophisticated of them all too. He said, no, they paid people, if you won't believe what I'm saying now, fact check it. They paid artists to mold a replica, fake, of Queen Idia's mask, and they used it for Festac 77. Two injustices done to Igbo. That was the year of the oil boom, when Nigeria is supposed to use her money to rebuild Igbo land where they destroyed during the genocidal war. They used the money to host a cultural festival. The artifact that was used as a mascot is a Bini bronze mask that is 500 years old, younger than the Ibuku art. So why did he snub using Ibuku art? Don't think he didn't look for alternatives. The king of my community, Obi Edward Ofulwe, was invited to Lagos to submit the mask of my hometown. The mask of my hometown was submitted. Obi of Iseluku also came and submitted the mask of Iseluku. They call it a Sige's mask. It was not used. The one from my hometown was also not used. I'm searching through a book looking for the mask of my hometown. It is older than Queen Idia's mask. Let me show you. It's a metal mask. It's a bronze mask. I'm going to show you the picture in a book. So that is the mask. That is the mask from my hometown. It is called Ozomi Yaba. And it is from this book, The Story of Obolo Kingdom. It is from that book. That mask is called Ozomi Yaba. And I showed you the picture from the book, The Story of Obolo Kingdom. A historical documentation of a historical documentary of Obolo people. Obolo people are in over 6 Igbo states. 16 communities in Igbo states all over Nigeria. So that mask was snubbed. It is older than Queen Idia's mask, all right? A Sige's mask, a Bini origin mask of Iseluku was snubbed as well. Do you know why they were snubbed? Not because they were in London Museum and they were not available for use. They were available, but Obasanjo considers them an Igbo mask because they belonged to an Igbo community. Then you will see somebody from Iseluku ranting that he is not Igbo. You see another person. The kings that went for that journey was Obi Edward Chukuyemo Fulwe and Obi Osemene of Iseluku, the grandfather of the present king of Iseluku, and the grandfather of the present person occupying Oboluku throne as well. So this is purely history, showing that Igbo people and Igbo language is a language of antiquity. Recently, I uploaded a video where someone asserted clearly, without fear of equivocation, that the most versatile language in the world is Igbo language. He compared Igbo with English. He faded English away immediately. He compared Igbo with French, with Arabic, with Hebrew, and he insisted that Igbo language is a language of antiquity. Now let's go back to our sister, Professor Catherine Acholono's works. Have you ever heard of Ikom monoliths? Ikom is spelled I-K-O-M. Ikom. What was discovered at Ikom, the monoliths, is another wonder of Igbo land. And some people will say, is Ikom also part of Igbo land? Yes. All of Cross River states today. In fact, Cross River is interesting because it was just 1967, probably around July, April to July, that General Gowon boasted that if the East tries to go, he will create the core states. The core states are Cross River State, Ogoja State, and River State. That is COR, core states. COR, Cross Rivers, Ogoja, and Rivers. So it was in 1967, trying to break the ranks, the powers of the Igbo-speaking groups, those who were considered the Igbo minority groups. He created Cross River State. He created River State. Annexing Port Harcourt, a major Igbo community, Opobo and the rest, Oba, Ebema, Ndoni, three different groups in one local government today. They call them Onelga, Oba, Ebema. That is Oba, Ndoni, and Ebema. Onelga. The guys' government area. Onelga, Oba, Ndoni, Ebema local government area. Onelga. Igbo speaking communities. All of Ikwere local government. All of Emuoha. These are Igbo speaking people. All of Opobo. These are Igbo people. Some parts of Kalabari are Igbo. These people were annexed into River State to break the ranks of Ndi Igbo. Ibanke was cut off into Edo State. In fact, 1963 then, that one was by law. The Anyoma people, 9 local governments in present-day Delta State was cut into the Midwest. When these states were created, what they had in mind was control, administration, ease of administration. Nobody thought about the cultural inclination or the language of these people. Not at all. If language was a factor or culture was a factor, I have no business being in the same state with Urobo people, even if some of them have Igbo origin. Urobo, Isoko have Igbo origin. That's not a debate. I recently posted a video to confirm this. And I listed 15 communities in the Delta State Gazette that are registered by the Delta State Traditional Rulers Council as Igbo communities. And they are in Isoko. How do you make sense of that? These communities are in Isoko. They are not among the ones who are calling Delta North because they are in Delta South. We have 3 senatorial districts. Delta North, Delta Central, and Delta South. Isoko is in Delta South. And we have 15 Igbo communities in Delta South. So when you hear people shouting that Igbos are everywhere, they are not trying to claim anybody's community because we have not even gone there to claim Isoko people. But they know that they are Igbo. One of the communities in Isoko, I was still looking for the name. I think it's Ase. They have a totem animal called iguana. They don't eat, kill, or mistreat the animal called iguana. Do you know what they call iguana in their community, in their language? Do you know what they call iguana? Onyuku. Their community language name, the Isoko language name for iguana is Onyuku. So they see him as Onyuku the same way. Some people will see python as Nai or Nai and they will not kill it. That is how they see iguana as Onyuku. We must preserve the Igbo language. What if our ancestors of that time did not preserve Asusu Igbo? How will we know that Isoko people were Igbo? If the people who named Ibide did not name it that way, how will we know? How will they have now connected that they are from Umbidi? That is just a difference in pronunciation that makes it to be called Ibide and not Umbidi. And this is a core Isoko community in Delta South. Please give me a few minutes. I would like to Adjust something. Can you be cutting off of them? I don't worry. Let me open it. I'm welcome back, everyone. I'm so sorry for that little break. I am in Nigeria. Hmm? So what usually happens in Nigeria just happened. There was power outage. In fact, no power outage. I was using a generator and perhaps petrol is exhausted in it. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching today's live stream. I want to appeal to you to please preserve the Igbo language in your hometown. Preserve the Igbo language in your home. A na-esi ụnọ amalụ mma na-apụ n'ama. Ụnọ ka egwu si efulu ma na-esi ilo. If you preserve the Igbo language in your community, in your home, another home preserves the Igbo language, we will not in any way be saying that Igbo language is in danger because you are preserving it. But it is when we fail to preserve it that we begin to have this fear. Please, my dear brothers and sisters, let us do our best to preserve this Igbo language. Let us do our best. There are so many things you can do every day. Na-akụzili ụmụ gị asụsụ Igbo at least 2 words a day. Mkpụrụ okwu na-abị every day. Mkpụrụ okwu na-abụ every day. Every day. Kụzielu fa mkpụrụ okwu na-abụ, the word and the meaning and how it is used in a sentence. Ịsụọrụ ụmụ gị asụsụ Igbo, faza gị na Bekee, say no. Zam na asụsụ Igbo. Teach them how to speak Igbo. Teach them how to speak Igbo. It may save their life one day. I'm going to tell you a story. There's a man in my hometown who gained scholarship. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this contribution. An Afro-American here with Igbo roots. You are speaking the truth. I want to thank you so much for your contribution. So, there's a man in my hometown. He's an English language teacher. And he learned his English in England. He went there to do his master's degree in English. And then he said, a coup had happened because he went on scholarship, a federal government scholarship, and there was a coup. So the government that sent him abroad was no longer in power. So he was stranded. He said he had entered a train with his last cash on him. And before he could get to his bus stop, he was so frustrated that he buried his face in his hands and shouted like this. Hey, Oyagami, no kensi funa nemado. He shouted that in despair, saying, is this how I will go missing in a strange land? He buried his face while making this lamentation. And then somebody tapped him and said, Wine, kiddo. Somebody tapped him and said, my brother, what is it? In Igbo. He lamented in Igbo, got a response in Igbo. The person who is saying Isoko is never Igbo. I just go to my other video. Go to my videos. You see a video I posted. It is not every community in Isoko that is from Igbo land, okay? I mentioned communities. And in the Delta State, I'm from Delta State. I'm not just a Deltan. I have served as a special assistant, community liaison to the executive governor of Delta State in the immediate past administration. I heard somebody say former glory. I am serving as an appointee again to the present governor on technical education. So, it is not every community in Isoko that is Igbo, but I mentioned the ones that are Igbo. Even the name of their traditional ruler is Igboid. I mentioned that there are 15, not me saying it with my mouth. I posted there a list of traditional rulers from the Delta State Traditional Rulers Council. All the communities that are Igbo are listed there as Igbo, IBO. Now, don't get confused. IBO, IGBO, EBO, HEEBO, all of them are Igbo. They mean the same thing. So they are listed there as Igbo. Okay, so let's down that and continue what we are doing. I mean, you have even distracted me from what I was saying. So, this our brother who went to study for his master's in English language had exclaimed in a train, "Hey, Oyagami, it means, hey, is this how I will go missing in a strange land?" And somebody tapped his shoulder. Oyakido, Winekido. The person told him, "My brother, what is the problem?" The person spoke Igbo to reply him. At that moment, he said he was so relieved. Then he raised his face and he saw the man. He said, "You know me?" He said, "I heard you speaking Igbo now." He said, "Okay, when I alight from the train at my bus stop, you alight." And he alighted and followed the man. So the man was asking him further, "Why were you lamenting in a train?" He said his scholarship had expired. The country sent him on scholarship to the UK and the government has been dethroned. So he's now stranded. He doesn't even have school fees. He doesn't have rent. He doesn't have transport to go to school, nothing. He said the man paid his school fees. Destiny. The man paid his school fees, paid his accommodation, and everything he needed, and then told him that his mother is from Ubuluku, where this man is from, and that himself is from Ogwashuku. I'm not saying one man, one man, one man. I'm now going to mention the names of the people. The person who gave this assistance was late Ambassador Ralph Chukwu Uwechwe, who was a President General of Ohaneze Ndi Igbo, and he is from Ogwashuku. I just told you this story to tell you that no matter what you know in life, no matter how educated you are, if you cannot speak the language of your ancestors, you are finished. If you can learn it, learn it. But if you have the opportunity to teach it to your children now that they are young, don't make the mistake that most parents have made. They can speak Igbo and still speak English, speak German, speak French, speak Spanish very fluently. These other ones, they will learn them from classrooms. But you see that Igbo language, aside from you, nobody. Things will even be worse if their mother is not Igbo. The responsibility falls on you as the father. If you are an Igbo woman, yeah, I don't need to tell you much, Biko. It will save their life. What I just told you is one of many stories that I have. Some of them are not stories that you would like to say in a live video, in a public space. You see the one I just talked about, and I mentioned names. The person who was helped was Sir Paul PC Ebune. The person who helped him was late Ambassador Ralph. Both of them are dead now. Okay? But the Igbo language saved his life. So every time he teaches English in class, he will tell you, as you are learning this English, go and learn Igbo. Go and learn Igbo. It will save your life one day. Igbo saved his life. Igbo saved his life. My 119 active viewers, Biko, give this video a thumbs up. If you are not also a subscriber to the channel and you like what we are doing, this is a platform where we promote Igbo culture, Igbo language, Igbo unity. My name is Onwode Ngozi Chukwuka Fortune. I am from Ubuluku in Anyocha South local government area of Delta State in Enuani. Manab onye Igbo. Completely onye Igbo. Onye Igbo mbo abone by na masu asụsụ Igbo. Onye Igbo mbo bụ makene omenani anyị niile ọdịnala ndị obodo nsi bịa niile bụ nke ndị Igbo. Ọchịchị obodo nsi bịa bụkwa Igbo system. Mana Igbo mala anabacha ndị mmadụ shinne. We Igbos are always very accommodating. So we accommodated a lot of other tribes in our midst. My brother who said that Isoko people are not Igbos, I hope you have been able to go and find out what I said. It's very, very simple and verifiable, okay? If you are arguing that Isoko people are not Igbo, what will you say when I tell you that Bini people are Igbos? That one you will run mad. Oh God. What I will do next in our next video is to bring out, I promise us this, that I will bring out at least, so that it will not look like a coincidence, I will bring out at least 25 Igbo words in Bini language. 25 Igbo words in Bini language that are used in daily conversation. 25 and some greetings. Some Igbo greetings in Bini language, so that when you say you are not Igbo, you are from Bini, you will now know whether it's Igbo people in Bini that you came from. You think they are not Igbos in Benin? I'm not even saying Bini. When I say Bini, is yesterday. I should be saying the Ogiso dynasty. The Bini people credit their founding to one Pa Idu. Who is the Idu? Where do you think Idu is from? Why do you think we have an Idu in that place and call it an Idu Benin? We have Idu Ime, which is in Igbo land. We have Idu Eride as well. And we have Idu Ife, which is after Benin. The remaining ones are Idu Ife. So when you say somebody came from Benin, I will laugh. Benin is just yesterday. My grandmother will never call Benin Benin. She will say Idu. Ani Idu. Where Jani Idu. Ejewani Idu. When Anioma state was to be created, our boundary was to be at Abudu. Abudu is now in Edo state. That is how to tell you where Igbos, how far Igbos are in just yesterday's map. Not the olden days when there was no map. When there was no map, Eze Chime, Ezemu, Akalaka, all these are Igbo people in Benin. Parts of Isoko were founded by Aka, or Akalaka, as some people will say as well. But that was not what I mentioned. I mentioned the ones who directly came from Igbo land and came to that place. Not the ones who went to Benin and had problem and came back. No. I mentioned the ones who are Igbo, who Delta State government recognizes as Igbo as well. And I'm telling you as an authority, as somebody who has the document, and I posted the document for public to see. There's nothing to hide in it. Delta State government gazetted these communities that are in Isoko as Igbo. So if they are meting out any treatment, any bad treatment against Igbo, they will met it out to them. One of our popular musicians, our popular comedians, Bovi Ubome, is from Ase. There used to be people that would say they were Isoko, that they are not Igbo. But I was proud of him recently. It means he has realized. Or what we are doing is not a joke. You are the one who will think we are joking. We are not joking around though. This sensitization we are doing is bringing people back to consciousness. On, I think, October 17th or thereabout, the 7th of October, on the anniversary of the massacre at Asaba, Bovi did a video to tell the world how Igbos were killed. He has never done that in his entire life. But right now, in fact, it was during his father's burial that they fully realized when they were, you know, a man can live all his life denying his identity. Wait until he dies. Birthright. Emume ndị a na-eme ma amụọ nwa. Marriage rights. Emume ndị a na-eme, usoro emume ndị a na-eme ma a na-anụ nwaanyị, ịgba nkwụ. Burial rights. Usoro emume ndị a na-eme ma olue na akwamozu. Akwamozu kwa akpọ n'asụsụ m bụ Igbo. Are the things you will use to know whether these people are Igbos or not. Burial rights. So during the funeral rites of Bovi's father, they were hailing him in Igbo language. They were speaking Igbo. They were doing Igbo things. They were putting cloth. I said, oh. Thank you so much, my brother. Complete truth. So it is Idu Igodo Migodo. I have read books written by Jacob Ehereba. Thank you so much, my brother Alhamako. I have read books written by Jacob Ehereba, a Benin historian of antiquity. In fact, the book that I am referring to was published in 1950s. Jacob Ehereba's book, A Brief History of Benin. In this brief history of Benin, despite how they want to massage the ego of Benin people, he acknowledged the Igbos in their midst. The founder of my community was listed as one of the Ogisos. We know it's not true. But they were just doing that to find connection between we and them. We were never part of the Ogiso dynasty with them. Our community was an ally of Benin, not a subject of Benin. A strong ally that when it got to a point, we went to war against them. Thank you so much, Augustine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So there are so many people now global on Facebook. I was very happy. Before, I am not a social media kind of person. No? We do offline, and then we'll go and be writing books. This book, The Story of Obolo Kingdom, was published 7 years ago. There are at least 16 Obolo communities across different states in that book. I was the secretary of the book launch 7 years ago. 7 years ago. But at a point, we realized that what we are doing is not only offline. The generation we are trying to reach are online. And they are not reading books. They are watching videos. That was how we decided to take the message to social media. It is when we dominated social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. These people ran away and came to YouTube. So that was how I decided to have a YouTube channel as well. And it's growing so far. Thanks to you. The fact that we have over 12,000 subscribers now shows that what we are doing is working. So I want to thank you for encouraging and supporting this channel. Please continue to do so. Share our videos, like our videos, subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed to it yet. We have a lot to say. Where will I start from? We have a whole lot to give out in terms of knowledge. The people denying their Igbo identity are not saying they are not Igbo. They just think in their mind that to be Igbo, you must be in the southeast. And when you say you are Igbo, it means you are saying you are from the southeast. No. You can be Igbo and you are not in the southeast, and you did not migrate from the southeast, and you are still Igbo. There are so many of such examples. The Igbo people are so old that their migration history, some of them is lost to history, is lost. They cannot actually say that this is now where they came from. If you trace their cultural practices backwards, you will see where they came from. Thank you so much, Ohamako. I pray to even get to 20,000, then 50, then 100,000. This person is saying your greed is your captor. Okay, I don't know what that means anyway. So, Igbos were not trying or are not trying to grab land. No. We are not trying to do so. Nwene, Achonwene, that's just what it is. Anywhere a brother is, he will always look out for the brother. It's like magnet. My community is Obuluku. If I begin to list other Obolo communities, you will find some of them will be in Imo, some will be in Anambra, some will be in Ebonyi, some will be in Enugu, some will be in Delta here, but Okwani area. Some of my siblings are in Edo. Some of my kinship relations are in Edo. They migrated that far. Somebody was telling me a story the other day. He said, when the Oba of Benin slept, that is our euphemism way of saying a king has passed, okay? When the Oba of Benin slept, somebody from my hometown did not shave his head because everybody was instructed in Benin to shave their head. He didn't shave his head. The structure you speak predates the Bible and the Quran. That's true. That's true. The structure I mentioned at Ikom, the ones in Ikom predates the Bible. I did not even complete it to say that there's a structure in Ikom, the monolith, that says that is representing a woman who died during childbirth. And they were saying that she's the first woman to give birth through delivery. That's the woman they believe is Eve in the Bible. But that's not where I am now. I am at a stage where I'm describing for you that the Igbo language is so vast and diverse and spoken across different communities. In Edo, in Delta, we are not trying to drag anybody into Igbo culture. It is your culture that will tell us that you are Igbo. There are two ways to be Igbo. You are either born as Onyibo, or our ancestors assimilated you, your people, killed goat, and welcomed them into the lineage. Fabolozandi Igbo now started forbidding the things we forbid and eating the things we eat. We can now intermarry. We married their daughters, their sons married our children too. They now became Undi Igbo. It is only foolishness that will make such a person, maybe 200 years later, to come back and start telling the world, Noboloze Onyi Igbo. That is the height of foolishness. After 200 or 300 years, the children of such people will come out and say they are no longer Igbo. What I usually tell them is this: it's in Iburo Onyi Igbo, particularly in Iburo Onyi Ubuluku, no problem. Go and kill Edi and eat. We forbid Edi. That is our totem animal. Oh, yeah, kill Edi and eat. Let's see how it will be in your body. You are not Igbo now, no problem now. That thing our ancestors did that time to welcome your fathers, you thought it was joke. You are still not Igbo. Oh yeah, go and kill Edi and eat. They will not. So, there's so much connection between us. Our 4 market days are Igbo 4 market days, Eke, Orie, Afonko. The Bini people call it Eke, Oye, Aho, and Oko. The 4 Igbo market days in Bini language. In Edo language, there's no Edo language. Let me say Bini language. Because Edo encompasses the Igbo people still in Edo. That is the Ibanke people. Esan people, and then the Edo, the Bini people. So their 4 market days till today is Eke, Oye, Aho, and Oko. And then you ask them, they will say they are not Igbos. They have Oba of Bini today because Oromiyan invaded Igodomigodo and imposed leadership on them. They now begin to call him Oba. Oba is the light of Edo. That is just like a nickname. Those who claim to have migrated from Benin, I'm asking them, why are their people not having Oba as well instead of Obi? So if you came from Edo, you should have Oba of Iseluku. Then we will accept that you are from Benin. Not that you have Obi of Iseluku. The founder's name is Odini Igbo. God bless our ancestors. This is why I keep saying we must protect the Igbo language. If not for the Igbo language, and the way Igbos name their children, who will have told us that Akalaka and Ezechime and Ezemu and Obodo, the one who founded Obolono, are Igbo people? If not for the way we name our children. Ezechima did wonders with the naming of his own children. The first son's name, Oheze. Okpali. Okpa di n'obi Chime. Odinigbo. Ezi. All the names of Ezechima's children are Igbo names, including the one that founded Iseluku. So if not that they call it Iselo Igbo, we would have thought it's a Benin settlement, as they always claim. That one Prince Owadia came in 12th century and founded the place as a Benin outpost. So why is it called Iselo Igbo? Iselo Odinigbo. Odinigbo. They say it's not Ubuluku, it is Ubuluku, UKU, that Uku means great. Uku means big and great in Igbo language. UKU means big and great in Bini language. Does it not tell you something? These people are speaking Igbo mixed with Yoruba. And I stand to be corrected. Oshimiri is Ohinwin in Bini. Ewu is Ewe. Apati for box is Epeti. Inkita, I think it's Inkite. Most of the things we call is what they call. Most of the things we say in our language is what they say. And as Joseph is saying here, those that tie 2 pieces of wrappers are Igbo. Even till tomorrow, when we say we weave akwacha, it is 2 pieces, Ibenabe. One under and one on top, especially for a married woman. Because there's something that will happen. You will use the second one to do reinforcement for the first one, and then fight will set. This person is saying they are chosen children of God. They behave like God because God liked blood. That's why God killed Jesus to save Igbos. He covered them with blood. Thank you if this is a compliment. Okay, so Ndi Igbo are also the race that cannot be suppressed. It was when the British realized that Igbo people cannot be annihilated that they gave Nigeria full support. They also cut off food supplies to Ndi Igbo, twisted our arms in so many ways and said no victor, no vanquished. They have denied Ndi Igbo all kinds of privileges. They are the presidency. No Igbo man has come close to the presidency since more than 45 years. Since Alex Ekweme in 1982, no Igbo man has been president or vice president. Since 1982. If it takes presidency to build a tribe, perhaps we would have been worshipping the Hausa and the Yoruba people today. But no, Ndị Igbo were able to rebuild themselves from the ashes that was left behind in 1967, 1970, after the Civil War ended. We were able to rebuild from the ashes to what we have today. A ka na-achụkwa ndị Igbo everywhere they are found. They feel they are doing well. They are trying to dominate them. How could the person you brought to the ground still be trying to dominate you? A people you gave only 20 pounds are trying to dominate you. How? You would have been far ahead now. There are some principles of life and some blessings that cannot be overturned by gragra. Some things cannot be gotten by gragra or by fight or by force. Please, if you're just joining us and you are not yet a subscriber, please subscribe to our channel. Help us to grow. Let's get to that 1 million subscribers that one of my friends talked about here. So, suppressing Ndi Igbo is not possible. That is why we have decided that instead of suppressing them, give them their own nation. Go your way. Let us go our way and see who will prosper more. One of the best ways to grow Igbo is to speak Igbo. That is why I am still pleading with our brothers and sisters to please restore the speaking of Igbo language in your homes. Please, if you're just joining us or you have been actively watching since and you have not given us a thumbs up, please do so. This person is saying, Obi of Onitsha Igwe Nemeka Achebe just gave a lecture which clearly elaborates your presentation. We still have Igbos in Ife. Thank you so much, my brother Martins. If I say much on this, people will think I'm talking stories, but I have to. Do I? Should I talk about it a little? The Igbos in Ile-Ife. Let me do so. Now, if I talk with my mouth, they will say, talking with your mouth is not documented anywhere. Okay, so let me read from a book. I feel it will be nicer if I am lucky enough to find a book in a book. Now, I'll be very happy. Good, let me read from a book. I'm reading from the story of Obolo Kingdom by Esther Wright. This book was published in 2017. I was the secretary of the book launch. So let me read from this book. It says, it's talking about the origin of Obolo people. That is in trying to buttress this point that there are Igbos in Ile-Ife. So let me read. After Ezemu had taken the name Obolo for his new community, he reasoned it that he needed more people and several communities to cultivate. I'm trying to trace where Ezemu came from, okay? I'm trying to trace where Ezemu came from. Ezemu and his siblings, so that you will understand that they are Obolo people in Ile-Ife. I was thinking I was lucky enough to find a book. I found a book, but I'm trying to link it to their origin, okay? Where they migrated from. I'm trying to look for where it is stated that Ezemu came from. Ezemu came from Ife, okay? But it's proving difficult. It's proving difficult. Okay, so let me try and read from here and hope that it helps. The story of the great kingdom Ubuluku with the activities of some migrants began with the activities of some migrants Obodo. These are siblings. Obodo, Ezemu, Ekelie, Aniga, and Ezenalia, all children of same parents, led by Obodo, the most senior of the 5 sons. For guidance, they had the Ududu, a mystic pot given to them by their father, of whom nothing is known. As there are no records to corroborate the claims of Ikemefuna and Anne in 2005 that he instructed his children to go in search of habitable land and to settle wherever the pot fell. However, Ikemefuna and Anene in 2005 had noted that the parents assembled 5 of their children, namely Obodo, Ezemu, Aribo, Anega, and Ekeria, and asked them to get ready to migrate and found other settlements. With no means of transportation, the migrants had to set out on their journey and guided by Odudu, carried by Ezemu, the youngest of them all. Their fate in God's hands, they traveled on foot all through the household with goods and the rest. So this book does not expressly mention where they set out this journey from. But I know that if I had searched earlier and kept it before this video starts, I'll be able to state it that they came from Ife. That's what the book upholds. So according to Obi Nemeka Alfred Achebe, during the Igbo repository, which I was very much a part of, the Igbo repository lecture that held at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka, he stated it clearly that they are Ndi Onitsha Ado Nidu. They came from Ife, tarried a little at Ado, tarried a little at Idu before they proceeded to their present location of Igbo land. My own parents, Ezemu and his 4 siblings, they are 5 in number. Their names, Obodo, Ekelie, Anega, Ezenalia, and Ezemu. Ezemu is the last son. Ezemu is a well-known name in Benin because of his mystical powers. But he is an Igbo man. Ezechima, a well-known Igbo name in Benin. Akalaka, the same thing. Those were in the epochs of old. But Ezemu still has Uge, which is a court named after him in Benin till today. These are Igbo people. Whether they went to Benin to do one thing or the other or stayed there or not, they bore Igbo names. That is why I'm telling you that you must project the Igbo language. No matter where you find yourself in the 13 states where Igbo language is spoken, give your children Igbo names. Speak Igbo language to them. Teach them Igbo words, two every day, and its meaning. Then you can now start teaching them about the culture when they have learned the language. I want to thank you, everyone who watched this video. If you are not a subscriber, please use this medium to support us by subscribing to our channel. Give us a thumbs up as well. See you in our next video. It's already getting dark here. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.